Nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the delay. I know I went through a few different time changes and now I'm even 7 minutes late. Had a few technical difficulties, but I appreciate you for sticking with me. We should have a pretty good show, though. And I think it's just going to be me. You're rocking with me tonight. All right, give me a second. Let me turn something down in the back. You see, still more technical difficulties. All right, we back. Tonight, we're going to talk about player matchups. All right, we're going to go through what I believe is going to be the starting lineups for each team. And then we'll look at a little bit of some video breakdown and on a few key areas that I want to spotlight. Okay. Those areas, first, defending the pick and roll. And we'll just look at them shortly. Not too in depth, not too long. Defending the pick and roll. Taking a look at how the Knicks should be physical on the inside. A lot of people are worried about Evan Mobley and Jarett Allen being big, but ladies and gentlemen, I'll be honest with you. The Knicks are physical, and I think we could be physical with these guys and, command our space on the inside. Throughout the season series at least, the Knicks have been able to dominate on the glass. I think the Knicks should be able to continue to do so. So we'll take a look at how the Knicks should be able to dominate on the glass. And then we'll take a look at the whole thing. Some people are worried about Isaac Okoro defending Jalen Brunson. We'll take a look at that. All right, and how the Knicks can possibly, combat that. So first, let's take a look at matchups, though. All right, and the first matchup that I want to look at is Mitchell Robinson and Jarett Allen. Okay. Now, when you look at when you see what's on the screen right now, these are all numbers from these two players versus each other during the regular season. All right, and excuse the typo there. Jarett Allen doesn't really get 0.5 assists. That's supposed to be 0.5 blocks versus the Knicks. Okay. But right here, right now, these are numbers versus each other during the regular season for this season, the season that just passed. Okay, so you got Jarett Allen versus Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson, 6.3 points per game, 10.7 rebounds, 1 block, 61.5% from the field, doesn't shoot threes, 60% from the free throw line. Jarett Allen, 15 points, 12.5 rebounds, 0.5 blocks per game, 60% from the field. Very similar numbers, except for Jarett Allen has more points, right? Why does Jarett Allen have more points? Because, one, he gets more looks from his guys in the paint. He can shoot a little mid-range floater. He can post up a little bit. But, ladies and gentlemen, I was looking back at the Knicks versus the Cavaliers, the game that was 105-103, took place in January. And the reason why I looked at that game is because the starting lineups were maybe the closest to being whole, right? At least the Cleveland Cavaliers starting lineup was whole. And I wanted to see the way the Knicks played against that starting lineup. And if we should really be worried about that size difference. And I'm going to tell you, I felt like in that game, the Knicks were able to be physical against Jarett Allen and Evan Mobley. And it was successful. Not only Mitchell Robinson, not only Julius Randle, but even Isaiah Hartenstein. We're going to look at some of that video later on. But I felt like they could be physical against these guys. They're long, but I don't see them being strong. Not as strong as I think Julius Randle and Isaiah Hartenstein are. Still, this is going to be one of the key matchups of the series. The Knicks need Mitchell Robinson to be on the boards. The Knicks need Mitchell Robinson to keep guys like Darius Garland out of the paint because, I'll be honest with you, looking at that video, looking at the game, the Knicks have trouble defending these guys in the pick and roll. At least Darius Garland, especially Darius Garland. Let me say that. Right? He's slick coming off of the pick. He's quick. He can explode and get inside the lane, and he's a very good passer. Very good passer. So, you're going to have to you got to defend that pick and roll, but we'll get to that because Jarrett Allen is one of the main guys who sets screens. See, Kerry Cox said Allen will be guarding Randle. No, if you go back and look at that game, I have the game up, and I was just looking at it, and from the beginning of the game, the base defender, Jarrett Allen was guarding. Well, it was Jericho Sims at the time because Mitchell Robinson wasn't there. And Evan Mobley is guarding Julius Randle. Will they do something different in the playoffs? It could be. We'll see. But I can only go by what's been done with the regular season. So I think, Mitchell Robinson is going to have to stand his ground down there in the paint. Jarrett Allen is, big guy, strong guy. I don't know if he's stronger than Mitchell Robinson or Mitchell Robinson is stronger than him. But Mitch has to do what Mitch does. Dominate on the glass, dominate on the offensive rebounds, dominate on the defensive glass. Mitchell Robinson's been very good this season, grabbing offensive rebounds. Defensive rebounds have kind of been up and down with Mitchell Robinson. The Knicks will need it both this season. And Mitchell Robinson is going to have to do a good job in the pick and roll. I'm back to that pick and roll again. It's going to have to do a good job against the pick and roll. But this is what the matchup looks like. And there's going to be a battle of, I don't know if you call them traditional centers, but neither one of these guys shoot threes. They both are kind of, rim runners. Jarrett Allen maybe has a little bit more offensive skill than Mitch, at least right now. We haven't seen everything that Mitch has to offer yet, I don't think. We did see a couple of times in the past few games, Mitch decide that he's going to take it himself, and he's been successful. We'll see if that continues. I don't think it's going to continue into the playoffs. Maybe next season we see a little bit more of Mitch expanding his offensive repertoire. But this is definitely a matchup to watch, and I think it's a big one. I think it's an important one. It's definitely one of the key matchups because, both teams play similar styles of defenses and funneling guards to the inside. Both teams do this. All right, and then hawk the ball. All right, they funnel the guys inside and then hawk the ball. And I actually think I forgot to put that video in, but that's okay. We'll look at that another time. So the Knicks know what Cleveland is trying to do defensively because they do it the same way. So both of these guys are going to be critical. The thing about the Knicks, in my opinion, if Mitchell Robinson fouls out, they have a strong guy in Isaiah Hartenstein coming off the bench. When you talk about the Cavs, it's Robin Lopez. He's big. He's long. I don't think he's what Isaiah Hartenstein is right now. Robin Lopez. So there's one matchup. And I think this, again, this is an important, very important matchup. The next matchup I want to look at, of course, is Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson. Big matchup, right? This is what all the storylines are about. These two guys, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell was supposed to be a New York Knick, blah, 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 blah. We know all of it. The thing here is, look, Jalen Brunson's going to be able to drop his points, I think, against this team this season. And, of course, look, These player matchups are not versus each player, but versus that particular team, which is the Knicks versus the Cavs versus the Knicks. This season, Jalen Brunson, 25 points per game, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 47% from the field, 45% from three. Now, the particular game that I watched, Isaac Okoro indeed was on Jalen Brunson. And, as Knicks fans, we get all of these dreams about, this guy's going to be able to lock down Brunson. He's going to be able to lock down this, lock down that. Okoro did a good job. He did a good job. But Jalen Brunson was still able to play a competent basketball game. And what we do know is that when Jalen Brunson is not on the money, he's able to switch his game up and then find open teammates, get assists, do those type of things. All right. Jalen Brunson in that particular game, and again, I'm looking back at this game because it's very close to what I think we're going to see in this series. Jalen Brunson in that game, the Knicks won the game 105-103. Jalen Brunson did not shoot well. 14 points, 4 assists for Jalen Brunson. Only shot 38% from the field and 33% from the three-point line. Julius Randle had a really, really good game, 36 points and 13 rebounds. We'll talk about Julius Randle. We'll talk about him because obviously his injury is big. But Brunson, one of the things that you can do is to switch Mitchell onto Brunson. And you'll see that the Knicks did that. And they did it in this particular game. And I think you're going to see it throughout the playoffs. We're going to take a look at the video on how you deal with Isaac Okoro on Brunson. Now, the good thing is this, at least from what I've seen in this video and the other videos, the other games, when Isaac Okoro did play, he played 3 games versus the Knicks this season. He wasn't picking them up full court. All right. He was picking them up only half court. Obviously, this could be something that they changed during the playoffs, right? They could decide to pick up Brunson full court. If they do so, I think the Knicks will just simply, give it to Quickly or Hart or Quentin Grimes or Julius Randle to bring up the floor. Okay. So I don't think they're going to pick him up full court, at least not from the beginning of the game, maybe when you get into the fourth quarter. And what I did notice in the fourth quarter, if he did pick him up full court, Julius Randle or whoever would bring the ball up and then Brunson would go get it from him. Not because the Knicks are afraid that Isaac Okoro is going to take the ball away from Jalen Brunson, but because it's less work for Jalen Brunson. Bottom line, you want him to save his energy into the fourth quarter. Okay? But these can go one-on-one with against Donovan Mitchell in the clutch. The thing, and you're going to see it in the video, is that everyone else, when the Knicks decide to do this, and if they decide to do it in this series, I don't see why they wouldn't. Everyone else they've got to get into the right spots. They can't stand in the way. Right? And you'll see what I'm talking about when we look at the video. Throwing out a lot of teasers here. I know, I get it. Because I want you to stick around to the end, or I want you to stick around till we get to the video. So I'm throwing out teasers. But they're going to target Donovan Mitchell. And the Cleveland Cavaliers may also target Jalen Brunson. So they may try to switch if Quentin Grimes is on Donovan Mitchell, which he will likely start the game on Donovan Mitchell. If Josh Hart is on Donovan Mitchell, if Emmanuel Quickly is on Donovan Mitchell, they'll probably try to switch, those guys, switch Jalen Brunson onto Donovan Mitchell. So that's going to be a matchup that we see, I think, a lot in this series. One of the few times that, in a series when you have two big name players that, the stars of their teams that they actually get to match up a lot during the series. This will be one time where they get to match up a lot because I think both teams will probably they'll want Brunson on Mitchell, and I think the Knicks will want Mitchell on Brunson in those clutch moments. It's not going to be the only thing. You can't only focus on that, obviously, but it'll happen, and we'll take a look at how it's going to happen in the video. Of course, Donovan Mitchell, he can light it up. 31.8 points versus the Knicks, 4.8 rebounds, 7.5 assists, shooting 50.6% from the field, 46.8% from the three-point line, 78.9% from the free throw line. Straight up, the dude can light it up. How are the Knicks going to defend Donovan Mitchell? Well, it's difficult because you have Darius Garland out there. It makes it very difficult. You can't load up on Donovan Mitchell because if you load up on Donovan Mitchell, you got Darius Garland who can knock down a three or penetrate to the basket off of a kick out. If you try to load up and stop Darius Garland from going to the basket, well, then he's kicking it out to Donovan Mitchell. Right? And so it makes it very tough to stop Donovan Mitchell. The Knicks are going to have to do a good job defending him off the screening role. Right? Guys like Julius Randle, as long as he's out there on the floor, Obit, Toppin, Mitchell Robinson, they're going to have to be in the correct help position when he comes off the pick and roll. And, if they let him free from the three-point line, he's going to knock it down. If they get too tight, he's going to be able to go past them. Makes it a very, very difficult task. Right? Very difficult task guarding this guy. You can't give him space because he can knock down a three. You can't let him get ahead of steam and go downhill because he's going to embarrass somebody. So the Knicks got their work cut out for him. Even if, you got Grimes, you got Josh Hart and Emmanuel quickly that can switch off on this guy, it's going to be a difficult task for all of them. The good thing is that all three of those guys are good defenders. So he's going to face a good defender every single time down the floor until they decide that they're going to try to switch and get Brunson onto Donovan Mitchell. And I'm not trying to diss Jalen Brunson, but he's not the defender that Hart, Grimes, or Emmanuel quickly is. Okay? But this is your premier matchup in this series. These are the two guys that's going to be all over the billboards and all over ESPN and every place else. This is the matchup that everybody wants to see, including myself. It's going to be exciting. We know how Jalen Brunson has played against Donovan Mitchell in the past. When Donovan Mitchell's giving it back to Jalen Brunson, no doubt about it. You see, the comparison right here on your screen. So be on the lookout for this matchup. But obviously, this is a key matchup right here. The Knicks, I think, can ill afford to have Brunson not play well in this series. The Knicks are going to need Jalen Brunson to play well, especially because he is the brainchild out there on the floor, right? Jalen Brunson is the engine. He makes the Knicks go. And so you need him to be a threat. He's going to shoot the ball. There's no doubt about it. He's going to have his times getting in the paint, but if he's not shooting it well, now, your defense can change up a little bit. You can decide, we'll put our attention a little bit more towards Julius or somebody else. Right? So the Knicks really do need Jalen Brunson to play well in the series to be successful. And it just so happens he's playing against a guy that, I guess Jalen Brunson likes playing against Donovan Mitchell. Right? So I'm excited for this matchup here. So Julius Randle's played very well in this series so far this season. He's been hot from the three-point line, 45% from the three-point line, Julius Randle. All right. I think that, obviously, if Julius Randle is not there, it's going to be tough. Right? It's going to be tough because I don't know if I'm just not sure if Obi Toppin is going to be able to give you what Randle gives you. Well, actually, let me not say I'm not sure. I know he's not going to be able to give you what Randle gives you because the Knicks need the physicality from Julius Randle in this series. They need the physicality. I talked about it earlier as far as rebounding the basketball, the physicality. The Knicks need that from Julius Randle in this series. All right, that's one way that the Knicks are going to be able to nullify the length of Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen down there. Okay, and the Knicks also are going to need Julius Randle's three-point shooting. Julius Randle cannot, ladies and gentlemen, go cold from the three-point line in this series, in my opinion. He just can't do it. If he goes cold from the three-point line in this series, I think that's going to be trouble for the Knicks. First of all, he's got to be out there on the floor, right? He's got to be out there on the floor. But if he goes cold from the three-point line, it's going to make it really hard for Jalen Brunson. So Julius Randle in this series is averaging 23 points per game. This is versus the Cleveland Cavaliers this season. All right, Julius Randle is averaging. Hold up, let me make sure I got the right stuff up there. I do. He's averaging 23 points per game. He's shooting 43.4% from the field, but 40.9% from the three-point line. And he's attempting 7 threes per game. He's averaging 10.3 rebounds and 5 assists. Okay, good numbers from Julius Randle. Not the best field goal percentage. And you can imagine, part of the reason is because he can get his shot blocked. If he's not physical and putting his body on Allen or Evan Mobley so that he can get to the line, he'll get his shot blocked. All right, so the Knicks need for Julius Randle to be physical. And they need his physicality in this series. I really hope that he's available for game one. If he's not, game one, I guess, is the game that, that's most of the time, game one is the game that the away team or the underdog can get. I think the Knicks can get more than that against this team in this series. But hey, if you got to miss a game one, I guess, will be the one that you got to miss. But the Knicks need Julius Randle's physicality. He's way more physical than Evan Mobley. And I think Julius Randle knows that. I think Evan Mobley knows that. You know what I mean? They don't need this, and I think Julius Randle will take advantage of that as long as he's playing in the series and as long as he's healthy enough. Evan Mobley in this series for the season, 13.3 points per game, 7.8 rebounds. All right, he's shooting 53.7% from the field, and I know that he's played better recently, but we're talking about this series. You know what I mean? It's hard to look at all of the other, teams that he's played against and what he's done against everybody else. You got to look at this series here. For the season, Evan Mobley is 16 points per game, 55% from the field, 21% from the three-point line, 9 rebounds a game. Those numbers are a little bit different for the Knicks. Okay, now over the last, let's go 15 games for Evan Mobley. He's been at 16.7 points per game and 8.7 rebounds, largely the same. I feel that Julius Randle should be able to, as long as he's playing, he should be able to, I don't want to say dominate the matchup, but do what he's done all season long. Be physical, get what he wants, get to where he wants on the floor. In this game that I watched where the Knicks won 105-103, Julius Randle had like 33 points or 36 points. He was knocking it down from 3 all over the place. And the fact that he was knocking it down from 3 forced Evan Mobley to come out the paint. Now you got less guys in the paint. It's one of the reasons why Hartenstein may be very, very effective in this series. Now, in this game, where the Knicks won 105-103, Jericho Sims was the starting center. Mitchell Robinson wasn't there, so Isaiah Hartenstein finished the game. But I wouldn't be surprised if Isaiah Hartenstein finishes the game in this series because he has the ability to spread the floor, get Evan Mobley out the paint, get Jarrett Allen out the paint, open that paint up for Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Jalen Brunson, and those guys. It also helps the Knicks rebound, grab defensive rebounds against this team. So if Julius Randle is knocking down the three, it's going to pull Evan Mobley out of the paint when Julius Randle's not in the paint. And it's going to open it up for penetration. So we need Julius Randle to knock down the three. We need Julius Randle to bring the physicality. Now, if Obi Toppin is starting, I'm not going to ask Obi to bring the physicality. That's not his game. Right? So now you got to play a different style of basketball. If Obi Toppin is playing against Evan Mobley. And Obi Toppin, obviously Obi Toppin's not going to have crazy numbers for the series because most of the series he wasn't playing, big minutes. All right, so we can't expect him to come in. And I know a lot of people do because of what we've seen down the end of the season for Obi Toppin, but you can't really expect Obi Toppin to come in and just start, cooking like that. Can't expect it. But I'll tell you this, Obi Toppin for this series, for the season, 12 points per game. Well, hold on. Let me bring this back out. All right. In this series, Obi Toppin is averaging 9.3 points per game, 3 rebounds per game. Okay. It's not bad. He's played 14.3 minutes. It's not bad. If he's playing 25 to 28 minutes, Obi may be able to give you 15 points, 7 or 8 rebounds. But what we're going to need from Obi is not just going to be on the offensive side of the ball. It's really going to be on the defense and how he can help defend the pick and roll against guys like Darius Garland. Right? If Evan Mobley sets the screen, if Obi is guarding Evan Mobley and he goes to set the screen, Obi's got to be able to defend that pick and roll against Darius Garland, against Donovan Mitchell, because that pick and roll is going to be a key to this series. I think it's going to be a big key to this series and how the Knicks can stop those guys from getting into the lane and kicking it out to shooters like Cedi Osman, like Dean Wade. Not Isaac Okoro, because that guy can't shoot. At least against the Knicks, he hasn't shot well. And then Obi's going to have to knock down the three consistently, and he's done that. All right, Obi in this series over the regular season has shot 45.5% from the three-point line versus the Cavs. So he's coming into the series feeling good, feeling comfortable, feeling confident. If he can knock down the three ball at a high clip, that's going to force Evan Mobley to come out the paint or Jarrett Allen to come out the paint. All right. The Knicks also need to take advantage of Obi's speed. Even in this game, 105-103. There were times where the Knicks were able to fast break and find Obi breaking up the floor. The Knicks will need to take advantage of that in this series. All right. The Cavs are a half-court team. And I think even defensively, they'd rather you play half-court so that they can lock you down, so they can keep you out the paint. If you're playing at a higher pace, not every possession, but at some possessions, you can take them a little bit out of their comfort zone, I think. So when the Knicks have that opportunity, and you got Emmanuel Quickly and Obi Toppin out there on the floor, they have a nice connection in the fast break. Utilize it. If Obi can get out and run, get out and run. This means Josh Hart, R.J. Barrett, obviously Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, they've really got to hit the glass because you're missing Julius Randle and his ability to hit the glass. You're missing his physicality. Hartenstein can help make up for that physicality, while Obi doesn't bring it. He brings something else. More finesse, more speed. So if Obi's out there, the Knicks have to utilize the assets that Obi has. And if they utilize those assets, they can be successful because guess what? The Cleveland Cavaliers do not have an athlete like Obi Toppin. They don't. They don't have an athlete like that young man. So if the Knicks utilize his athleticism within what they do, they already have things that they've done to utilize it. Backdoor alley-oops, running in transition. Look for him. Look for chances to use his athleticism to spread the floor vertically. Look for those opportunities and capitalize on them if Obi has to be your starting power forward for game 1, 2, 3, or the series, whatever it is. All right, make the Cavs have to adjust to Obi Toppin. Now, this next matchup is going to be big, right? It's going to be big. We're talking Darius Garland and RJ Barrett. And while obviously RJ Barrett isn't the size of Darius Garland and they play different positions, RJ Barrett in this game where the Knicks won 105-103, RJ Barrett from the tip was guarding Darius Garland. I'll tell you the defensive matchups. It was Jalen Brunson on Isaac Okoro, Quentin Grimes on Donovan Mitchell, RJ Barrett on Darius Garland, Julius Randle on Evan Mobley, and Jericho Sims on Jarett Allen. If that's the starting five for the Cavs, which I expect it will be, it's going to be the same defensive assignments, except Mitchell Robinson will be in there for Jericho Sims. And on the Cavs side of the ball, they had Isaac Okoro on Jalen Brunson, Evan Mobley on Julius Randle, Jarett Allen on Jericho Sims. They had who else is out there on the floor for them? You know what? I'll pull it up right here. Let me take a quick look at it. Then I'll let you know. So they had Okoro on Brunson, Garland on Grimes, Donovan Mitchell on RJ Barrett, Evan Mobley on Julius Randle, and Jarett Allen on Mitchell Robinson. Well, Jarett Allen was on Jericho Sims because Mitchell Robinson wasn't at the game. But I would expect those to be the same defensive assignments when this series starts. I'll say it again. The New York Knicks will have Brunson on Okoro, RJ on Darius Garland, Randle on Evan Mobley, Quentin Grimes on Donovan Mitchell, and Julius Randle on Jarett Allen. I'm sorry. Mitchell Robinson on Jarett Allen. The Cleveland Cavaliers will have Okoro on Jalen Brunson, Darius Garland on Quentin Grimes, Donovan Mitchell on RJ Barrett, Evan Mobley on Julius Randle, and Jarett Allen on Mitchell Robinson. So, this is kind of a likely matchup. RJ Barrett and Darius Garland. But when you're talking about scoring output and those type of things for the Knicks, you know, you have Randle, Brunson, and then RJ. Okay? And the top three scoring players in the Cleveland Cavaliers starting lineup is Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley. So, this is a likely matchup that you'll see. RJ Barrett for the season against the Cleveland Cavaliers, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 1.3 assists, not blocks. It's late, ladies and gentlemen. I got a couple of typos in here. It's late. I apologize. Shooting 42.3% from the field and 43.5% from three. And that number, ladies and gentlemen, is a super duper key number. 43.5% from three for RJ Barrett versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. If RJ Barrett can shoot 43.5% from the three-point line against this team in this series, that's going to be huge for the Knicks. And he's taken 5.8 3-point attempts per game in this series. That's going to be huge. Even if he's not shooting crazy from the field, he's shooting 42.3% for the season series. If he's not shooting crazy from the field, the 3-point shooting is going to be a key. Why? Because the Cleveland Cavaliers, like I said earlier, they crowd the paint. If you get into the paint, they hawk you. They hawk you when you get into the paint. 3, 4, 5 guys, and you got to find somebody to kick it out to. So RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Obit Toppin, Quentin Grimes, quickly, Hart. These guys got to be ready to catch it and launch it. Because they play similar to the Knicks. They don't want you to get in the paint. They're going to test you on the perimeter, see if you can knock down those shots. The Knicks are going to have the ability to the opportunity to knock down 3-point shots, plus to penetrate off closeouts. Quentin Grimes can have a field day. He can have a field day. If he's knocking down the 3, teams are going to aggressively, or the Cavs are going to aggressively close out on Quentin Grimes. And then he can attack. He can have a field day if he's knocking down that 3-point shot. And so can RJ Barrett. He's not going to attack as fast as Quentin Grimes. We shouldn't expect him to. We need RJ to shoot it. He's been successful against the Cavs this season. We need him to continue to be successful. He's got to shoot it. He's got to knock it down. Darius Garland, 19.7 points per game, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 34.5% from the field. Not that great. 36.8% from 3 and 78.9% from the free throw line. But the key here, folks, is going to be stopping that pick and roll. Got to be able to stop the pick and roll against Darius Garland. If you don't stop that pick and roll, you can be in trouble because the guy can get into the paint. He can float it. He can pull it up. He can knock down the 3. He can find someone to pass to. He's very good at breaking down the defense, right? People are going to have to help out because, he's not just going to blow by RJ Barrett. It's going to be off of a pick and roll. An Evan Mobley or a Jarett Allen pick and roll. That's the bread and butter for him. So the communication on the pick and roll defense has got to be a key. It's got to be a key. All right, we're going to take a look at some of these things. And, as we're talking about the videos, we'll remember some of this here. Some of this stuff. All right, it's got to be a key. Keep the guy out the paint. And I think the Knicks can be successful against Darius Garland. All right, don't let him get loose from the 3-point line. All right, good communication. Next, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at Quentin Grimes, Isaac Okoro. Not a high-profile matchup. All right, 2 defensive guys who are going to be out there to do their jobs. Quentin Grimes is going to be guarding Donovan Mitchell to start the game. Isaac Okoro on Jalen Brunson. Which one of these guys can do their job better? So it's not even going to be about them matching up with each other. Who can do their job better against the opposing team's best perimeter offensive player? Right? Quentin Grimes is giving you 9.3 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, 2 assists. Shoot 38.5% from the field against Cleveland and 26.3% from the 3-point line against Cleveland. Those numbers cannot persist. They can't. The Knicks need Quentin Grimes to be hot versus Cleveland. All right. Down the stretch of the season, Quentin Grimes was very, very good. Knocking down shots all over the place. The Knicks need Quentin Grimes to continue the hot shooting. The last time these two teams matched up, all right, Quentin Grimes was 3 for 8 from the 3-point line, 37.5%. Ended up with 14 points. All right. Hopefully, this is a sign that Quentin Grimes is going to improve his three-point shooting against the Cleveland Cavaliers. We just talked about it. If he's knocking down a shot, if he's knocking down that three-point shot, they're going to close out hard, and he's going to be able to attack those closeouts. And Quentin Grimes has done very well finishing at the basket. Right? He has sneaky jumping ability. Sneaky jumping ability. Right? So Quentin Grimes has got to knock down the three. He's got to defend Donovan Mitchell. Sometimes defend Darius Garland. All right? Quentin Grimes is a better three-point shooter than Isaac Okoro. That should give him the edge. He's a better offensive player than Okoro. That should give him the edge. But it's really going to come down to who can do their job better defending the best guard on the opposing team. Okoro, 3.7 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, 2.7 assists, shooting 27.3% from the field, 16.7% from three. He has not shot the ball well against the New York Knicks. Hasn't. From what we hear, Isaac Okoro's three-point shot is getting better. Maybe he's been a little bit hot lately. But I would bet that Tom Thibodeau is going to test his shooting. Okay, you say you're getting hot. People say you're getting hot. Well, you got to prove it to me. Right? You got to prove to me that you can knock down these three-point shots that people say you're beginning to make. Show it to me. And now we're in the playoffs. You got a little bit of pressure on you. Show it to me. Show it to me. Isaac Okoro, over the last 10 games, Isaac Okoro is shooting 42.9% from the three-point line, but that's 1.8 attempts per game. 1.8. Will he continue to shoot? I mean, he only takes about 3 field goal attempts per game. I test it. If you're going to leave somebody open, leave him open. If he knocks down a couple, change it up. Do something else. But if you're going to have somebody help in the paint, whoever's guarding Isaac Okoro, Jalen Brunson, if you're going to have somebody help in the paint, especially Jalen Brunson, let him help in the paint because he's very good at taking offensive fouls. So if you're going to leave somebody, let Jalen Brunson leave Isaac Okoro a little bit. Bother some people in the paint. Maybe even grab a couple of rebounds. It may be hard for him to close out to Isaac Okoro, but you know what? He's not a great shooter. Let him prove that he can knock down those shots that people talking about. He's shooting 43% from the field now. Or from the three-point line. Well, okay. Do that with volume. Shoot 43% with volume. Let's see if he can. I don't trust it. I don't think he can. And you know what? The pressure of the game, I'm wide open. Oh, I better make this. He's not that kind of shooter. So it really comes down to he's out there because of his defense. And that's what the Knicks are going to, that's not what the Knicks, that's the matchup here. Who could defend better between these two? The good thing for the Knicks is they have 3 Quentin Grimes that they can put out there on the floor. 3 of them. It's a good thing. Now, let's take a look at the bench. Okay? There's some matchups on the bench we could talk about. Right? You could talk about matchups on the bench. But let's just take a look at the benches. Okay? For the Knicks, you got Emmanuel Quickly, Josh Hart, Obit, Toppin, and Ihart. Now, if Julius Randle is out and Obit Toppin is in the starting lineup, I would expect Tom Thibodeau may not go any deeper and just rock with Quickly, Josh Hart, and Ihart. We'll see. But that's something that I think he might do. I don't know if he trusts Sims yet. Maybe he gives Sims a little bit of burns just to see. I don't know if he fully trusts him yet. But he might. He might. But the Knicks bench unit, Emmanuel Quickley in this series is the leading scorer on the bench in this series, 10 points per game. All right, Emmanuel Quickley's been burning it up lately, though. We know that. He's been burning it up. Now, this is a different situation than Isaac Okoro, right? Because I just said, well, Isaac Okoro has been shooting 43% from three, but I would test it. Well, I would test it because he's shooting a low percentage, and I don't trust that he can shoot 43% under high volume. Emmanuel Quickley, though, has been playing good basketball all season long. They just seen him score points against him in the last game. They know that he can score. They're not going to test it and say, well, he's only scoring 10.3 points per game against us. No, they're not going to do that. They know Emmanuel Quickley can score the ball. All right, he's the Knicks' top scorer off the bench, and he's the top scorer off the bench in this series. All right, for the Cleveland Cavaliers, it's Cedi Osman, 9.3 points per game. A lot of people would think it was LeVert, but LeVert against the Knicks he's been averaging 7.3 points per game. All right, you got a guy in Dean Wade that can light it up over there in Cleveland, though. All right, Lamar Stevens, a defender. I wouldn't expect him to light it up, but, he's a guy that can, maybe score some points, shock you a little bit. But the Knicks bench has the clear edge. All right, against the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Knicks bench 32 points per game. 32 against the Cleveland Cavaliers bench. 23 from the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, the Knicks bench dominate the glass, 18 rebounds a game, right? 4.5 offensive rebounds, 13.5 defensive rebounds. While the Cleveland Cavaliers is just over 10 rebounds per game against the Knicks. 9.3 assists per game from the Knicks bench, 6 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks bench shooting 50% from the field, 31% from three, but only 52% from the free throw line. The Knicks got to fix that. Right, the Cavs bench, 38.6% from the field, 35.1% from the three-point line, 73% from the free throw line. I expect the Knicks bench to give a lot of trouble to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks have enough guys on the bench where they can, they can allow their starters, if Tom Thibodeau wants to get more rest. Right? Because the Knicks have the better bench. You're going to get, Quickley is arguably a starter in the league. Josh Hart is arguably a starter in this league. Down the stretch of the season, Obi Toppin has played as a starter. Hart, he can finish the game for the Knicks. The Knicks have the stronger bench. Significantly stronger, I believe. And this bench unit, we talked about the Knicks being able to play, well, we didn't talk about it tonight, but we've talked about the Knicks being able to play different styles of basketball. And it's because of this bench unit that the Knicks can do that. That first unit, they're ground and pound. Right? Randle, Brunson, ground and pound. RJ Barrett. That's what they do. This bench unit can get up and down the floor. And then when you throw RJ and you throw Brunson out there with the bench unit, they can help get up and down the floor too. And every once in a while, if you got to put Randle out there, he can play a little bit faster when he wants to. So the Knicks have these different styles, and it's because of this bench unit. Now, when you look at the Cavs bench, and I don't know who it was. I think it was Die Hard earlier today when we were talking about the Cavs bench, that they have a lot of guys that kind of duplicate each other. Dean Wade and Cedi Osman, they might as well be the same dude. Karis LeVert, maybe he's dynamic. Go off the dribble, go to the basket, shoot the three. He's dynamic. Stevens, So the Knicks, they have some duplication on that bench over there. They don't have the glue pieces that the Knicks have. Hart, Josh Hart. The Knicks, in my opinion, the Knicks bench is way better than the Cleveland Cavaliers bench. And I expect, in some games in this series, the bench to turn the game. Either, if the Knicks are down, they bring the Knicks back, or if the Knicks are up, they extend the lead farther, or if the game is tied or close, the bench spreads the lead out. The bench is going to be a big, big, big factor in this series. And I just don't know if the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to have, I don't know if they have the dogs to do it. Because Hart really did elevate the bench. He elevated the team as a whole. He elevated the team as a whole, not just the bench. You know what I mean? And, the good thing about Josh Hart, we talked about it the other day as far as the matchups. Josh Hart, you can plug him in for Brunson if you need to. Right? And have Randle bring up the ball. Or, if you got to take out Josh Hart, if you got to take out Brunson, you might bring in Quickly and Hart for Grimes or something like that if you need to. But Hart can come in for Brunson. He can come in for Grimes. He can come in for RJ. That's such a luxury to have. And he's going to give you the same production in whatever position that he's in. Even on his bench unit, Quickly can have the ball in his hands while Hart plays off the ball. But Hart can have the ball in his hands and let Quickly play off the ball. It's dynamic. It really is. It's really dynamic. You know what I mean? It's really dynamic. Both of these guys, from the beginning, you've seen Josh Hart hook up with Obi Toppin. Quickly can hook up with Obi Toppin. So they allow this team to be able to get up and down the floor. And then because Hart is a guy is a center he hasn't shot the three ball well this season. But people know he can shoot it. So on a fast break, instead of him coming down to the paint, to the box like Mitchell Robinson would do, he can spread out to the three-point line. Now you force one of their bigs to get out the paint, you let Obi Toppin go to work. Right? The Cavs don't have this ability, in my opinion. They just don't. They don't have that ability. So, there go some player matchups, ladies and gentlemen. Some player matchups. I spent, 50 minutes on player matchups. But now I want to get into just looking at some film and some of the areas that we talked about as we were looking at these player matchups. Some of the areas we talked about. Right? So let's start with that pick and roll. Because I think this is really, really going to be a key for us. All right? Being able to defend the pick and roll. Darius Garland. Donovan Mitchell. Right? If we can't defend this pick and roll, we're going to be in trouble all series long. This just like with the Atlanta Hawks, right? We got into some trouble because we couldn't defend the pick and roll. See, Donovan Mitchell is coming up the floor, got the ball in his hands, and bang, let's get a stop right here. All right. Let me get my little trusty pointer up here. You can see Julius Randle right here. Evan Mobley here. Okay, Julius Randle is guarding Evan Mobley. And we know that's going to be a matchup that's actually happening in the game. That's the reason why I used this particular video. Okay. You see Donovan Mitchell getting ready to come off of the pick and roll. Let's go ahead and let this thing play. Bam, let's stop it here. First of all, the pick and roll came high. Pick and roll came way out here. But when Donovan Mitchell came off, Julius Randle was up tight on Donovan Mitchell. Right? Now, this did not allow Donovan Mitchell to get free to shoot a three. All right? There might have been some bad spacing on this pick and roll to begin with, which, if that's going to happen, good. Right? So let's bring it back a little bit here. Boom, boom. You see Julius Randle's up tight. Right there. He's up tight on this pick and roll. Not only is Julius Randle up tight, But you look back here, R.J. Barrett, maybe he got his head turned a little bit more towards here and can't see who's behind him, but R.J. Barrett in the paint. Jericho Sims in the paint. Brunson watching here. Who's he got over here? Isaac Okoro. Not worried too much about him because he's not a three-point shooter. All right, this is good pick and roll defense right here because you have everything covered, and this is what the Knicks is going to have to do if they're going to be successful against this team. Now, Donovan Mitchell, being the guy that he is, comes across, goes one-on-one, and knocks it down. But I want to point out something else here. All right? And yes, he's going to knock that one down. But I want to point this out. Julius Randle hedged. He hedged here. Right? Boom. What happened? Quentin Grimes gets around Evan Mobley, gets back to Donovan Mitchell, and Julius Randle is able to get back to Evan Mobley. And part of the reason, too, that Randle's able to get back to Evan Mobley is because R.J. Barrett's in here watching. Jericho Sims is here, right? And Donovan Mitchell can see this. Oh, I can't get this pass in here. Mitchell knows he can't get that pass in there because Randle's too close and there's guys watching. And you see Jericho Sims got his hands out. He can see. He knows where Jarett Allen is. All right, this is good pick and roll defense. The Knicks are going to need to play this type of defense on the pick and roll the entire series, which is difficult to do. Donovan Mitchell knocks it down, but I'm not mad at the defense. All right, this is Darius Garland. Okay? Now, let's bring this back. Let's take a look at it. I let it go kind of fast. You see Jarett Allen and Jericho Sims. You see Jericho Sims guarding Jarett Allen. Jarett Allen coming up to set the screen. Boom. Jarett Allen sets the screen. Now, where's the mistake here? The mistake, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Jericho Sims. Jericho Sims needed to come and stop here. He opens up here for whatever reason. I don't know why, but he opens up this way. All right, let me bring this out here. He opens up here instead of coming here to cut off Darius Garland from turning this corner and getting down into the paint. All right. So let's take a look at it. And then we'll go slow. So it's not too fast. You see how Jericho Sims opened up there instead of getting around the screen, and then he gets hit with not really hit with a screen from Donovan Mitchell, but now he has to go around Donovan Mitchell. Right? He took the wrong lane. You can't do that against this team because once he took the wrong lane, here goes Darius Garland in the paint, right? Guess what? Julius Randle's now in a panic, trying to get to him. Jericho Sims is trying to help out. As a matter of fact, I'll get my pen out. Julius Randle's here. Jericho Sims is trying to help out. No reason for Brunson to be deep in the paint, and he's not. That's a good idea, even though he got Isaac Okoro over here. But now you look, Evan Mobley wide open in this corner, right? And this is not great pick and roll defense. And what happens? There's a kick out. And I'll get all of I'll erase everything off the screen. There we go. There's a kick out, but some kind of foul was called. All right, that's tough pick and roll defense, ladies and gentlemen. Now we get here. See Darius Garland gets a 3 up. Why? Well, you got R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle on one side of the floor getting ready to guard Darius Garland. Okay? What happens? Well, let me go ahead and pause it and bring it back. There we go. So you see, RJ feels the screen. I don't know if him and Julius are talking, but they should be talking. Right? Come forward, and what happens? Julius Randle is playing too far back off of a guy that can pull up quick. Too far back. And it looks as though R.J. Barrett is trying to go under or stick with Evan Mobley. I'm not sure what R.J. Barrett is doing in this position right now. Randle's given space. R.J.'s turned around this way. Not sure why. Randle, I would like to see Randle more up here, right near this three-point line. Now, he may be afraid that Garland can turn the corner on him, and I get that. All right, but this is where Jericho Sims would need to be there to help out if he did turn the corner, and then you'd have guys like Quentin Grimes and maybe even Jalen Brunson helping out on Jarrett Allen if Darius Garland did turn the corner. Instead, this just not proper position on that pick and roll, and he's able to get a nice, clean, open three. R.J. Barrett has to turn around in a panic to try to get him, and, there it is. Bang, he knocks it down. All right, you got to have better pick and roll defense. Here's another example of some pick and roll defense. All right, you're going to see Darius Garland get a screen from Jarett Allen, and then he finds Jarett Allen. This is as difficult as a play as you're going to find to stop. Difficult. Bringing it back. Here's why it's difficult. So you see, Jarett Allen sets the screen. Now, we'll stop it here. You look over on this side, there's nobody here because they have Donovan Mitchell here, a dangerous position. We talked about this earlier about, if Garland has the ball and Donovan Mitchell is off the ball, it's hard to help. Or if Donovan Mitchell has the ball and Garland is off the ball, it's hard to help. Right? It's hard to help because these guys are so dangerous out here. But you got three guys on this floor and two people over here playing this pick and roll. It's leaving this entire area over here open. This entire area is open. What do? How do you stop that? It's a difficult one to stop. Very difficult to stop. Now, as we move forward, you're going to see that Darius Garland is going to take the screen to the inside. Okay? Now he's here. If you wasn't guarding Donovan Mitchell, maybe you ask Quentin Grimes to come in here to help cut off Darius Garland. But what happens if you do that? If you do that, Donovan Mitchell is open out here. And he can hit it from three. And he can go off the dribble if you close out too hard. Right? So now it's, okay, now what? Because Darius Garland is looking to get right down in here. So if Julius Randle steps up, Evan Mobley's over here. All right, this is where we've got, one, you got to get over that screen and get back. So this is quickly, you got to get over that screen and get back to Darius Garland so that Hartenstein can get back to Jarett Allen. A lot easier said than done when you're dealing with guys with speed and craftiness. Right? A lot easier said than done. And as a result, Darius Garland gets into the lane, right? Hartenstein tries to help out. Julius Randle is not helping out. And some people will get mad at Julius Randle for not helping out. But if Julius Randle comes here to help out, then Evan Mobley gets the dunk. Right? I mean, you're almost helpless in this situation. Almost helpless. Right? And what's going to happen is Darius Garland is going to get the ball around to Jarett Allen, around Isaiah Hartenstein to Jarett Allen for the dunk. To be honest with you, the Knicks may have made that as tough as they could to get that pass off. You know what I mean? So what I think you got to figure out in this situation is, how do you stop it from this point? Right? How do you stop it from here? If you send Emmanuel quickly under the screen, he knocks down the three. So he's fighting over the screen. Okay. If Hartenstein helps too much, Jarrett Allen is free. I think you have to have Grimes. And I know it's Donovan Mitchell. I think you still got to have Grimes come in here and help to stop that. There's going to be a kick out here, but then Jalen Brunson is going to have to be here to help until Grimes gets back. Then you may have to see a bunch of different type of rotations here, where, if he's helping, then there's someone else helping the helper, then another guy helping the helper. I think that's the only way that you can get past this particular play. That's a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. That really is a tough one to deal with. This is something that the Knicks have got to watch out for. You got to watch out for it in this series. Got to watch out for it. The Knicks got to figure out, how do we defend it? All right, because if you don't defend it well, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. Just going along with defending the pick and roll, I also think the Knicks have got to watch out for the Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell's pump fakes. This is just a little piece that I wanted to mention, to go along with defending these guys. You got to watch out for their pump fakes, right? And this is just a quick clip. I'm not going to go deep into detail about it. Just a quick clip, right? These guys are the masters of the pump fake, right? And you'll see. Look, Quentin Grimes is on Donovan Mitchell, playing decent enough defense. Boom, he's in, back out, pump fake, and he's gone. Open shot. You got to stay on your feet. You're going to have to figure out how to stay on your feet. Again, Garland, pump fake, Deuce McBride up in the air. Okay, so now you're talking about, who you're talking about? You're talking about IQ, Quentin Grimes, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart. Stay on your feet. The Knicks can't afford for you guys to get into foul trouble. Right? Can't afford for it. But these guys are going to use that pump fake to get you in the air and either get an open shot or try to get you in foul trouble. Stay on your feet. Study what they do. Study who you're defending. Study who you're defending. Now let's talk about the physicality inside. The Knicks have physicality. Just look at this play here. This is with Jarett Allen and Mobley in the game. Hartenstein comes up with, Jalen Brunson ends up on the floor, but Hartenstein comes up with the big dunk. All right, here, you have Evan Mobley. You have Jarett Allen in the game. And still, just look at on the inside. Hartenstein is strong. Julius Randle is strong. But also pay attention to, on the offensive side of the ball, as much as we're worried about rebounding, Evan Mobley's out on the perimeter, right? Isaac Okoro out on the perimeter. They're only sending one rebounder to the offensive glass, and that's Jarett Allen. One rebounder to the offensive glass. Everybody else is out on the perimeter. Why are they doing that? Because I think they are a little bit, well, that's part of their offense too. They want to spread the floor so that Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland can get into the paint, right? So they got 4 guys on the perimeter, 1 guy on the inside because Jarett Allen's not a three-point shooter. All right, so I'm not as worried about them being on the glass, especially on the offensive side of the ball. If the Knicks can hold them to not shooting the ball that well, they should be able to rebound without a problem. All right, let's keep this going. Boom. Hartenstein grabs the rebound. Oh, Julius Randle grabs the rebound. Now we're up the floor. All right, Quentin Grimes. There goes that being able to get off the dribble, right? Attack off the closeout. Grimes, Randle, muscles his way. Boom. Gets the foul. Puts it back in. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring it back again. The Knicks have the physicality that I do not believe this team has. I don't believe they have it. And here is this. We talked about Quentin Grimes having the ability to attack off the closeout. If he's knocking down a three, you see it right here. And he did it in several times this game. And you see it all the time. You guys follow Quentin Grimes and the Knicks. You see it all the time. Right? Boom. Tack the closeout. Finds Jalen Brunson. Brunson kicks it out because they aggressively, the middle, Randle, against 4 Cavs, against Evan Mobley and Jarett Allen down there, is still able to score. Now, here's where we're scared. Randle gets inside. And now look, suffocated by Jarett Allen and Evan Mobley. This is where Randle's got to use that physicality, right? Look at the space between Randle and Evan Mobley. No bodies bumping. There's got to be bodies bumping. Look at the space in here. It's got to be bodies bumping for Julius Randle to be successful, in my opinion, down low against these two guys. Because what happens is they use their length now. And look how many guys are in the paint. Right? We complain about the Knicks. Look how many guys are in the paint for the Cavs. All right, he's not totally in the paint, but he should be. He's probably supposed to be. Paint. Right? Look at bang, bang, bang. Only guy close to him is Hartenstein. And Isaac Okoro's holding him. When we get inside here, I mean, Randle, I know he's got that power to be able to go up and score. Right? But when you get inside there, you might have to see, is there someone you can kick it out to? You got 3 guys around the perimeter here. And their backs are turned looking for Randle. All right, now, that's a difficult situation for Randle to be able to pass out, I know. You know what I mean? He did the right thing in trying to go in there and score. No doubt about it. But these guys are trying to crash and kill the paint. You know what I mean? You might have to look for those kickouts. And guys are going to have to be ready to shoot it. And the Knicks will. All right, and then, of course, he gets it blocked. RJ shoots an air ball. All right, so that, when we talk about the size and length of the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think this is where people are worried. This is where people are worried. Next clip. Because people are worried about Isaac Okoro. Right? They're worried about Isaac Okoro and if he will be able to shut down Jalen Brunson, right? And you see in this clip right here already, right from the beginning, that Okoro is picking up Jalen Brunson full court. Here he is. It's fourth quarter. 4 minutes and 10 seconds left. The Knicks are up 2. Isaac Okoro is picking him up full court. All right, so what is it that the Knicks are going to do? What should they do? Well, let's get this thing playing. All right, so they pick him up full court. Who's bringing the ball up? Randle. Right? Randle. And then Brunson gets the ball behind a Randle screen. Okay? Now, you see they created a switch. How did they create that switch? What did they do? Whoever Donovan Mitchell is guarding, which right now is IQ, is going up to set the screen on Isaac Okoro. Right? And as soon as they set that screen, they switched. Right? And now in this situation, stop it here. I want to stop it right here. Let me pause this. In this situation, the spacing is bad. They created the switch. Right? But as they created the switch, you see Evan Mobley just camping out here in the paint, chilling. Why? Because Isaiah Hartenstein is still in here. Now, it looks like he's thinking about setting a screen here. But that's clutter. That's clutter. Right? Isaiah Hartenstein should be over here. Now, Jalen Brunson has this entire side to operate if Isaiah Hartenstein is over there. All right, so let me take this off, play this forward so we can see what actually happens. He tries to set the screen, nothing going down. He gets trapped. Jalen Brunson gets trapped, and Julius Randle with 3 or 4 seconds left has to throw it up. He doesn't have to. He could have took a better shot than that. But here's how it should be executed. And you're going to see it again. Emmanuel quickly sets the screen for Brunson. And now, look, Jalen Brunson has Donovan Mitchell on an island. Why does he have Donovan Mitchell on an island? Because Isaiah Hartenstein is out the way. He's over here. Jalen Brunson over here. Julius Randle up here. Quickly hiding over here in the corner. And all this real estate on this side of the floor for Jalen Brunson to work. All this real estate. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how the Knicks will combat Isaac Okoro defending Jalen Brunson, and how the Knicks will get that switch and have Donovan Mitchell defend Jalen Brunson. That's the switch the Knicks want. The Knicks want Jalen Brunson to be guarded by Donovan Mitchell. The Knicks are going to go after Jalen Brunson. All right, this was ran perfectly. Perfectly. And what happens? Well, as we move the play forward, you'll see that Jalen Brunson goes one-on-one, ends up getting a foul on Donovan Mitchell. And Donovan Mitchell, you see, clapping his hands hard because he knows that the Knicks are targeting him. Ladies and gentlemen, just a few things. Just a few things. I'm sorry, for some of the technical difficulty there. I apologize for that. I thank you for being patient. For those who stuck around through it, thank you for being patient. But right there, you know what I mean? 3 things that I think are going to be keys in this matchup: the pick and roll, being physical on the inside for Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein. I think those things are going to be key. And then switching Donovan Mitchell onto Jalen Brunson. It's going to be some keys. All right. And I'm talking schematics right now. Some keys. RJ Barrett knocking down the 3. Quentin Grimes knocking down the 3. Obviously, those things are keys. Julius Randle knocking down the 3. Julius Randle being healthy. You know what I mean? But those are some schematics right there. All right. It's going to be a fun series, man. I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to be able to break down film like this throughout the series. I won't have the technical difficulties that I had tonight. You know what I mean? A little bit of rusty in doing it live, so I had to knock the rust off. But I'm excited for this series. I think the more that I look at tape, I feel like the Knicks have so many advantages in this series. The more that I watch previous games, so many advantages, folks. You know what I mean? A lot of them. I feel like the Knicks, if they take advantage of those opportunities, I think they'll be successful, man. I think they'll be successful. Jay, I want to thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'm going to scroll back and see if I have any more super chats. He said, what are you most nervous about? Who's the one Knicks player that needs a good series the most on this team? What am I most worried about? I'm worried about the pick and roll between Darius, Garland, Donovan Mitchell. I'm worried about that pick and roll. Okay. If those guys are able to break down the Knicks defense, do that pick and roll, and then kick it out to guys like Dean Wade, Cedi Osman, Karis LeVert, obviously Donovan Mitchell, even kicking it out to Darius Garland, the Knicks will be in trouble. The Knicks have got to be able to stop the pick and roll. You know what I mean? They've got to be able to stop it, or at least make it tough, right? So that's one thing that I'm really worried about. Let me see. What was the other part of that question there? Who is the one Knicks player that needs a good series the most on this team? A good series. as far as, if you're asking a good series as far as, for them to feel good about themselves, probably RJ Barrett. If you're saying a good series for the Knicks to win the series, Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. You know what I mean? Those guys, those guys are that's the power. That's the power button. That's the power button. You know what I mean? Those guys have got to perform well. Other guys, maybe in and out, whatever. Them two guys got to perform well. That's why the Knicks need Julius Randle out there. I do believe that the Knicks can win a series if Julius Randle's not there. I think they have enough. It'll be tough. It'll be really tough. It's going to be tough regardless, but it'll be really, really tough to win it without Julius Randle. But I think they can. I think the Knicks, though, to make it easier on themselves, they need Julius Randle back because he brings a physicality that I do not believe the Cleveland Cavaliers have. You heard after that last game that, Donovan Mitchell was talking about the Knicks and, being in the playoffs and the physicality of the playoffs and how the Knicks played with that physicality down the stretch of that second game or that last game. The Knicks need to play with that physicality. I just don't think the Cavs have that kind of physicality. You know what I mean? And the Knicks do. They've played with that kind of physicality all season long. Julius Randle spearheads that physicality. Like it or not, him getting upset and doing those type of things, he leads with that physicality and that aggression. It boils over sometimes, and we don't want it to boil over. But they need that in this series. They need that physicality in this series. You know what I mean? But Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, those guys, in my opinion, have got to have good series. You know what I mean? If they have good series, I think the Knicks can be successful. You know what I mean? I think they'll definitely be successful. But ladies and gentlemen, man, hopefully I didn't miss any super chats or anything like that. If I did, I'll make sure I make it up tomorrow. I'm going to head up out of here because it's late. My dog's going crazy. Someone's ringing the doorbell at 1:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. It's my daughter coming home. But I appreciate your time. I will catch you on the next show. Sorry for the technical difficulties and all that stuff, but folks, I'm out of here. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.